Okay, so I just bought this thing on Facebook Marketplace. This is 88 Ford Festiva.
It's a Ford, it's a Festiva.
Somebody has done a conversion on it. It's an all-wheel drive. They did a Subaru 2.5 liter with a 5-speed. And I typically don't buy other people's cars because the metalwork is typically terrible and everything else is terrible, but this one was just up my alley. I like the little cars.
Small. Smallness.
So I figured I could manage, get this thing going again. It's actually not too bad of work on it, you know. They got like the wheels centered in the wheel wells properly, and metal work is pretty decent. And the car is super rust free, which is cool, because these things are kind of rare around here now. I got used up too fast. Obviously this radiator is zip tied on there. So my plan with it is get it slightly more reliable and drivable. Might even pull this engine out, and it seems to be running pretty good. So yeah, it's going to be a little project to get. Not that I need it anymore. Okay, so I got the Subaru Ford Festiva, whatever you call this thing, up on the lift, and I'm just gonna go over a couple things. It's not too bad. Thought it'd be actually kind of worse. I think I can work with a lot of this. Basically, they used the subframes, they just built the framing to hold the subframe from the Subaru. Looks like they got a one-piece drive shaft made. This is something that's kind of concerning, is there's no bushings at all in the transmission mount. So that's probably a lot of vibrating. The header is just barely fitting in there. And another thing that's not good is there's some rust pre-existing on this thing, like right there. There's a little rust hole. It's a control arm. It's kind of important. Okay, so in here in the engine compartment, we've got a lot going on that needs to be sorted out. Mainly the factory harness here for the engine is uncut, which means it's got to be, there's so much crap in there that doesn't need to be in there. There's actually a whole pile of it inside, which yeah, there's a lot to go through here. But I'm not going to go through any of it. I'll tell you why. Because I have a whole nother engine over here. And this engine is a single overhead cam, which is a little bit better design. This is out of 2001, I think. And the reason I want to switch it out, I don't think there's anything wrong with the engine that's in this Festiva, but this other engine has got a wiring harness which has already been cut down. So this is all you need to run an engine, which is going to save a lot of time. And I wanted to take that transmission out to fix the transmission tunnel a little bit, because I really want that welded in nice and solid, so there's no carbon monoxide getting into the cab. Yeah, and it'd just be easier to switch the engines out, so I don't have to go through the wires, which I don't have time for. This thing's got to be running for me in about a week. Okay, so I got a cherry picker, a forklift, and a gantry crane, but none of them are here right now. They're all over freaking jammed up places, so I gotta pull this out myself. The old-fashioned way. Go. Okay, so the motor's out. Kind of see some of the fab work in here with that subframe. How they got it mounted. Okay, under the car here, I got the transmission pulled out. This is one of the areas I wanted to fix because it's shabby. This whole seam here is no good. Nothing's really welded properly. So I'm going to cut it flush and then re-weld it smoothing out all that crap. And then I'm gonna weld these seams here up there so it's all solid as it can be, because this is an important piece. Okay, so now I got the floor cleaned up quite a bit here. I mean, it's not great, but it doesn't have to be. And I just sprayed some undercoating down on there. And I'm gonna put the transmission back in now. And then the engine. Okay, putting in the new engine here. Got it cleaned up a little bit in here, not great, but it doesn't have to be. Put a new clutch, throw-out bearing. Yeah, this is a much nicer setup here. This is the single overhead cam. And I know this is red, but this is not the STI engine. This is a non-turbo version, just painted. And yeah, so we're gonna mount it in there and see how it looks. So this is the wiring harness for the old engine. You can see it's not trimmed down, and that's the harness for the new engine. Okay, so I've been screwing around with the wiring on this Festiva, trying to get this motor to run for quite some time now. And I've gone through everything here, all this, testing voltage coming in and out of the ECU. But I finally found the problem, and it was pretty stupid. The little sensor way down there in the middle, it's the temperature, or the thermostat sensor. It wasn't plugged in. Plugged it in and it started up just fine. Okay, so it doesn't run great. Obviously, it started up a little rough there. But once it's running, it's good. So that's a big improvement. I'll put the radiator in and clean all this wiring back up. And maybe we'll drive it.